shot throwing, but it also has to do with movement, has to do with stance, and it also has to do with good old stabs, which we'll see if we have time to get to. Since we're going to be trying to do a lot of movement, you know, side to side, up, down, all that kind of stuff, I would recommend stretching first. That's just my point of view, but I always think it's a good idea. Especially, you know, if you're not used to stretching legs, hamstrings, that kind of stuff, I would take a couple of minutes to do that. If you want to, that's something I could actually lead.
Let's go, yeah, let's go over that. Yeah.
Sure.
Get everybody up to do
Let's do a little yoga
it.
class.
Woo! Yes.
Warmed up, guys? We're feeling stretchy.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
If there's anything else you want to do, that's fine. I'm not going to object. So anyway, the whole idea behind body mechanics is really just figuring out how the body moves. To that end, I'm just going to warn you right now, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of fighting, if any. This is not a house where we're going to be sparring, but you are going to be practicing shots. I think that one of the best things that you can do to practice shots is obviously to fight other people. But barring that, one of the best ways that you can fight at home if you don't have anybody is to know how to throw shots and to be able to practice on something even that's stationary, like a Pell. I think Pell work is really largely overlooked in AMGUARD. A lot of people choose not to do that. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is, let me grab my notes. Grab all my stuff. Okay. Here we go. So, got the stretching, identify good maneuvers. All right, so anyway. So, stance. Before we are throwing any shots, the very first thing we want to do is we want to get our stance together. Figure out how you want your body to be standing. If you're fighting, you can pretend you have your equipment or whatever. But right now, just go ahead and get down, get into whatever your fighting stance is. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Pretend you got your stuff. Get it down. Okay. Good. 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 Now, so far, and most of you have got this. When you're talking about, I guess, your body and its movement, there are 3 lines that you want to have. The first line is, of course, your shoulders. The second line is your hips, and the third line is your back. And optimally, to be able to move here, or to be able to just take steps, walk, go this way, optimally, you want your shoulders to be straight with each other, you want your hips to be level, and you want your back to be straight. A lot of people tend to hunch over a little bit, and you'll pretty much notice when you have people that like to reach over to get shots and they do this number, they can do that. But of course, when you're talking about body mechanics, this is when you're at your most vulnerable. This is when it's the hardest for you to have balance. This is where it's the easiest for you to fall over, get mucked up, all kinds of ridiculous stuff like that. So anytime that you're getting your stance, whatever it is, high, low, whatever, we're not going to worry about what your arms are doing. We're going to worry only about shoulders, hips, and chest. Now, let's see. You, sir. Or actually, let's get a volunteer. Does anybody want to be thrown around?
You
All
said
right.
sure, and then he was like, wait, what?
There we go. So anyway, there is a little drill here that's supposed to show you how you're supposed to, or why this is important. So go ahead and get in your stance. Get your body nice and however you're going to be. There you go. Now, the whole idea behind doing this is anytime you're going to move or you're off position or anything, it's really important for you to be able to keep everything nice and straight. So if I grab him and I'm getting ready to pull him, he shouldn't be getting knocked down. I can pull him, but wherever he goes, he should be able to stay up like that. Now I'm not going to recommend grab somebody. But I'm trying to show you, if you have very good balance, if you got your arms straight, everything straight, that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah, as you're getting pulled around, your body manages to stay stable. Okay, so this part, very easy to show. How do you move around while you have stance? Everybody got weapons? Grab a sword. So anyway, we're not going to actually be fighting with this. The reason why we have to basically we just need something to move around. So right now, create some space, get nobody around you, make sure you can actually move a little bit. My sword on the ground. Now obviously, whenever you're in a fighting stance, one of the things you don't want is you don't want to square your hips up. You want to keep them level. You usually are going to lead with one or you're going to lead with the other. So whenever you're going to move, you have to get used to the idea that you're moving and your hips, your shoulders, your arms, everything is staying exactly the same, or as close to line as you can. So if I'm back here and I'm moving up, there are 3 different ways I can do it. The first way, which is the most natural because everybody's been walking their whole life, is to take steps. Come over here and take steps, come back here and take steps. And that's fairly easy to figure out, okay? It's no problem. The only time it becomes a problem is if you're taking steps like this, you should already know that you're putting weight on one leg, putting weight on the other. And as you're moving around like this, you have a very momentary place, but there is a place where somebody can run up on you, jump on you, and you will be flat-footed, basically, essentially caught to where you're, taking a step. Another way to do this, which is, there are 2 fans to the next 2 methods. The stepping is okay. I think Marshall Aeolus in Austin, he's a real big fan of stepping. He always does that. I mean, that's one of the things. If it works for you, that's great. And the reason why he likes stepping is because he, again, says it's what everybody knows how to do, so if you're good at it, go ahead and do it. Aside from that, you're going to hear from people talking about the hop. Now, what the hop is basically means that you're not getting caught flat-footed. You're putting your heels up a little bit, and you're basically rocking in the middle. So you got your legs out, not too much. You're going to try and find a nice, comfortable spot right here to where you can just basically rock side to side, rock side to side, where you're basically sitting here in the middle. This is where you want to live. This is where you want everything to be. And then after that, you have to make sure that whatever direction you're going, this toe, your lead toe, is facing that direction. If your toe is facing anywhere else, you're probably going to go in that direction instinctively. You're going to follow your toes. It's just what you do. So what we're going to do right now is, I want you to find your sword, throw it on the ground. You're going to go ahead and just get down here in the center. Make sure you're nice and centered here in the middle. Bend those knees. Get your heels up a little bit. And all you're going to do is you're going to do a small drill where you're just going to hop forward, just like this. Basically, this is your lead-off foot. This is your landing foot. And it doesn't have to be huge. I saw a lot of people today who did the old to try and move. Right now, all I want you to do is just get comfortable. You're going to stand right here, and you're going to forward, 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 left, left, back, back, back. That's it. All I want you to do is take a couple of rounds around your sword, make sure it feels comfortable. Just comfortable. And again, you don't want to lean forward. You want to keep yourself in center as much as possible. You're going to
Feel
find
like you got one direction, go the other way as well.
yeah.
Coach me road.
You're going to find that going sideways is actually the trickiest. Actually just getting a little movement. And again, it just goes with, it almost goes like that at the very beginning when I was telling you to get a nice boxer stance, just move it on out. That's basically what this is. It's just one foot in front of the other, moving a little bit, but keeping your mass down here. Now, the other thing, instead of doing the step, instead of doing the hop, is the slide. And those of you who have fought James before, James is a real big fan of the, Delos. Delos is a very big fan of the slide. He always believes in very small movements. He doesn't take these, huge leaping bounds or anything. He's very much under control. And what he basically does is he'll do a combination of those two, where he's basically taking a step and then bringing his foot back, almost like he's dragging it behind him. And again, it's just slow, 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 back, back. And it's interesting to see. I myself am not really good at it, but still, it's another way of doing it. For some people, it helps you at least to control your movement, because this will not, if you're sliding, you're much less likely to get these big, huge movements going wrong. So it will shorten your steps. It will decrease them, and it will give you a better sense of control. So if you'd like to try that out, go ahead and get your nice comfortable stance, and this time just practice taking a step and drag, drag, drag. Again, the side one is always the most difficult. Coming back, and you're even going to grab that front foot when you're coming across.
Watch when Diego is moving his feet. He's not dragging like this. He's not exerting a lot of force on his back foot so that he literally drags the ground. It's more of a slide. Yeah, it's more of a
You're not doing
slide.
a lurch or anything. You're not like making an anchor. Basically, you're just using the least amount of energy to make sure that it follows you. That's it. That's it. Comfortable slide. Comfortable slide. And the reason why we talk about this movement is because we're just basically talking about range control. It's the very first step in range control. When you're fighting somebody, how much distance do you want to put between you and your opponent? And I know that probably some of you guys have gone to some of these other classes and you've heard about the red zone, the green zone, where you want to be in relation to your opponent. And all of it starts with your legs. All of it starts with where you are, where your comfort zone is. Now, there are a couple of drills, actually there's a ton of drills, for how to maintain that range. But really, I just want you to learn how to be able to follow somebody or to keep distance with them. That's about it. So at this point right now, we're going to do, I guess we're going to do what, partner up? Yeah. Want to do the sticky hand drill?
Let's do sticky hand.
Or do you want to do the, I like sticky hand myself.
Sticky.
It's a little
Let's
more,
get sticky,
it's a little more aggressive. So anyway, for the thing that sticky hand drill is supposed to teach you is it's supposed to teach you how not just to move, but also how to keep your body in reference to somebody else. How to keep this when you're striking somebody and when you're not. The sticky hand drill basically says that I've got two hands here, and this is how we start off. Now the goal of this, believe it or not, is for me to be able to move over here. Wherever I'm moving, he's going to adjust, because now I've got an open spot. The goal of this is to be able to move and hit that shoulder. That's what you're trying to do, or tap it or whatever. I want to do this without myself getting tapped over here. So basically the best way for me to do that is to come and get out of the way so that I'm squaring my hand on him and he's grabbing empty air. So it's a relatively good drill, and yes, it's going to be very awkward when you start. It always is for everybody. And you guys are probably gonna, well, don't slap each other on purpose, but you're probably gonna end up doing that anyway. So what I would do right now, find a partner. If you can't find a partner, one of us will take you.
Remember guys, one of the things, since this is a partner drill, with all partner drills, these aren't competitive necessarily. There's a competitive aspect of it. We're trying to touch each other. This is about bringing each other up. So if me and Carlos have never done this drill before, I'm not going to I gotcha, Carlos. Right? We're going to go slow. We're going to build our rhythm. It's about building each other up in these cooperative drills, right? I'm going to move. I'm going to go real slow. And what am I doing all the time? I'm checking in with myself, checking my stance. I'm going to go here. He's going to go. And over time, as we become a little bit more comfortable with the drill, then we can kind of kick it up. We can kick it up. We can kick it up. But build your partner up first. Okay?
I would say at the beginning, don't even try to go for the shoulder. At the beginning, just try to move your partner.
Let's do that.
Try to move them forward, try to move them backwards.
Let's
see if
do
you can
that.
manipulate their movement. That's about it. Where basically you get, I mean, how many of y'all have ever seen or know the premise behind flag football? There you go, got the little belt. There is a way that you can do this where you get like a belt, a banner, something, and instead of, you know, putting your hands together like this, you take a little flag or whatever you're using and put it on your shoulder. And your opponent also has it on his shoulder. And now it suddenly becomes a lot more competitive, whereas before all you're trying to do is a dance, now you're actually trying to win something. And so now you're coming up to somebody, they're trying to get your little shoulder thing, you're trying to get theirs, and now you're trying much harder to keep this going to where I can grab something. And this is what you want. You want the top half of your body should be moving quite a bit. The bottom half needs to be as stable as possible. This is where you derive most of your power, this is where you get most of your stability. So this up here, and it goes even when you're fighting. Your feet should be all about defense. Your offense should be all this up here. So if you wanted to challenge, put your little flags and do it that way. That's a lot of fun. Okay.
Great drill. Really fun drill. If you guys want, if you're not feeling so much the tension, you can also just put your hands to each other. Forget about the entire hitting each other in the shoulder, or tapping each other in the shoulder. But this tension that we create here, like some of you I was talking to, right, that's indicative. He can feel when I'm compromising my basic body mechanics, when I'm out of position, right? You just move around and you try and keep that tension the whole time, right? So that's just a variation. You want to try that. Another good one.
Okay, so let's see. So now, we've already got that range control. There we go. Now it's time for flat shots, or how you throw it. Shot. Okay, so obviously, in amp guard, you don't need to put the hammer down on somebody all the time. Really, you know, a small shot, a little tap, anything like that is going to do the job. The idea behind body mechanics is if you need speed or if you need power, this is supposed to be the optimal way to be able to deliver it. And so that's all we're looking for. We're looking for basically a linear, or just basically a straight line. That's what we're looking for. That's the short distance between 2 points, a straight line. Your greatest amount of power is going to come off of a straight line. And when you're talking about delivering a shot, the easiest place I think to start is to actually do a cross shot where I'm coming over here and I'm starting over here and coming across like that. No wraps, no nothing. All I'm trying to do is generate power from here and come across. That's it. I'm not trying to hit him. I'm just trying to figure out how to throw that shot. Okay? Because a lot of people will do this little thing where they're throwing their little wrists or doing some little cue like that. If you're trying to generate power, there's no way that your wrist is going to generate enough power. It's just not going to do it. In fact, little known fact, your wrist is actually fairly easy to break. Only a couple of pounds of pressure and snap, there it goes. So because of that, it just can't generate a lot of strength on its own. And it basically works like a lever. Here, very little power. Here, a heck of a lot more. Here, a heck of a lot more. And the further down you go, the more power you're going to be generating. Partly because you have a longer arm, but partly because every single muscle going this way is much stronger than the one in front of it. It just is. And the biggest muscles in your body are down here at your legs. Now, how do you practice doing this shot over here? I actually have a drill for you. All right then. So, how many of y'all know what Kempo is? Oh good, I love Kempo. So, this is a little Kempo drill and it's not very hard. What I'm going to say is right now everybody put left foot forward, right foot back. Go ahead and get your left arm up. Get your right arm back here so you've got your offensive weapon, or you get your offensive arm and your backwards arm. And we're not going to punch anybody. What we're going to do is we're basically going to move our hips. That's it. All you're going to do is concentrate on moving the bottom. Now here's how you're going to do it. Basically you're going to go forward, back. Like I'm trying to throw a punch, but I'm not. I'm basically keeping this here. I'm trying to hit somebody with my hip. Imagine there's some imaginary person there and you go 1, 2. And we're just going to do this 25 times. If you want to, I can go ahead and lead you. Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't get your arms moving. You're not trying to do that. You're trying to get your hips moving. That's the impetus. The impetus is to get these things coming forward. Like you're trying to jam somebody up here in the front. You want that to happen. That's what you're doing. 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And again, it's not side to side, it's not forward and back, it's moving it to the front like you're trying to jam somebody with this side. That's it. Yeah, it's rotational. Rotational. Now, other foot forward. Other foot forward. And we're going to do the exact same thing. And again, I'm seeing a lot of variations, And I'll come by and try to check you out. I'm just going to lead you on this, and then I'm going to come by to try and correct. All you want to do, not this big monster thing. All you're trying to do is throw with your hips. These are up here just for guard. That's all they're doing. You're going to go forward, back, like you're trying to hit here. That's it. There. Now, the reason I like to start with this drill is because when you're talking about getting a lot of force or a lot of power in your arms up here, we just finished saying you want to start way down here, okay? And I said that the cross shot was the best place to start. So, if I'm trying to hit him over here, and I've got, let's see, where am I going? Right. And I've got this hip in the back. This is the shot. This is the optimum way to have this shot. Have this arm out here, and you might want to think of it as like pulling out your sword from here. Have it way back here. This hip that's back here, and when you pull it out, this hip is going to be moving. You're going to be moving, and all you're trying to do is just get that shot. That shot. You can block it all day. We're not trying to hit that arm.
I'm not blocking it very well.
Okay, we're not trying to wrap. Please don't start doing all this fancy stuff because you want to try to hit. That's not what we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is get a smooth movement. You have to think of it like this. This is rotational movement, and this is linear movement. So you're trying to turn rotational movement into a linear shot, but it all has to follow this line. It's almost like you're slicing a table, or, you know, basically you're making a plane. That's all it is.
Somebody
okay?
also alluded to baseball. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna find that a lot of the stuff that we use in amp guard is, you know, usable in other sports. Baseball, primarily, and even tennis. Even tennis, believe it or not. So there you go. So what I would do now is, I would probably try to find a partner. I would go ahead and get this foot forward, this one back, take your sword, bring it back here, like you're in some terrible kung fu movie, and then basically, you're gonna come out and get a shot. Now you can exchange shots with somebody else if you want to. I would probably just do 5 shots. And if you don't feel comfortable with the moment, with the movement, then I would go slow. I would go slow. Speed is not something that's going to be your friend in this. It really isn't. Not right away. Because if you try to do it fast, there's a better chance you're going to do it wrong.
The old saying goes, guys, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? So start slow. Start painfully slow if you need to. One of the things you guys are going to learn as you refine, as you develop and employ better body mechanics is you're constantly kind of having to check in with yourself, right? You're constantly having to do these check-ins and you're going to learn more about your own body. The way Carlos moves and stuff like that is foundationally the same as me, but he has a bit different body type than I do, right? So it pays to spend time, right? Okay, here we go. I got my foot here. I got my sweet samurai sword. Okay, how does that feel? Do a little check-in. Are my hips too far forward, right? Are you too far back? Are they nice on that level plane that we were talking about earlier? What about my shoulders now? When I rotate out, stop and be like, how did that feel? What's my stance like right now? Am I a little too wide? Oh, okay. So maybe a little bit closer. And then the next time I do it with that information that I gained, maybe a little bit faster. Okay, that feels good. A little bit faster. Oh, off balance, right? So I need to dig in. Yeah, okay. Start slow. Slow is smooth. Smooth is smooth. All right?
Number 1, load. Number 2,
What's the first one again, sir?
I'm sorry?
First one?
Number 1 was load. Load. Number 2 is lag. And the third one is transmission.
Okay.
I'll say it again. Load, lag, transmission. Load, lag, transmission. So can I have a fancy volunteer come on up here? Oh boy, come on up. So you're a right-handed fighter? Okay, put your sword up like you're gonna hit me. There you go. Now, throw a shot at my shoulder. 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 Move forward. Come get me. Come and get me. No. Now, if the reason why that's not working is because he's taking his sword and basically I'm trying very hard not to move my hand. I'm just putting it in one place. Is because he's doing just the push. He's standing right there and putting this out, and when he comes to get me, he's moving his whole arm forward. See that? So all he's doing is getting a push. He's not getting anything going. The whole idea behind what we're doing right now is that you have to do the load first, then you're going to do a drag, and then you're going to do a transmission. What that means is your hand isn't supposed to be the first thing that moves. That's what we were talking about, that wrist, getting all that energy, and that's all that you're using. The idea here is, go ahead and put your hand up on me. If I'm here and I'm trying to hit him like that, then I'm basically just trying to drop this and use my arm strength to go here. But if I'm loading first, like what I was talking about before, this is going to go first and this is going to drag under. This should be loose. This should not be all tense when you're up here. When I'm throwing a shot, I'm going to move like that, because this thing should be loose enough to go under that area. Basically, the idea is, here I am back here, I'm loading, this is the drag. This is coming forward and this is following it. It's only when you get to the end of it, you have to think of it like a whip. When I get to the end of it, that's when it comes forward. That's when this thing finishes out. So I saw a couple of people doing this, correctly, and they were asking me, is this supposed to be like a whip? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to be like. Because you're moving here first, everything is following, and then you're finishing it out. That's why you shouldn't do this. Was that good? Don't stop. Don't stop. You want this thing to come all the way across or be stopped by somebody else. Understand? So that's all of these moves are going to have that basic thing. Doesn't matter if it's going forward, doesn't matter if it's going backwards. Load, bring this out, and this should follow your arm. That's all that it's doing. So knowing that, try that drill again. Try that drill again. Let's go ahead and bring it back in here.
Yeah, that's genuinely the only fear here.
There you go then. So anyway, is this something you have to have another partner to be able to do? No, I mean you could do this at home on a punching bag, you could do it on a bedpost, you could do it on the side of your house, an unsavory neighbor, whatever. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Again, this is one of those things that is easy to practice because you're not trying to, figure out now how am I going to get under that shield. You're just trying to figure out how to move. That's all. And again, the most important thing to it, the most important thing about all these things, it's supposed to be fluid. It's not supposed to feel jerky. It's supposed to feel smooth. Anatole was talking about it earlier about the whole speed issue. If you're a runner, any kind of a runner, if you ever read any running books, they will tell you that you don't have to have speed right away. You have to have good form. If you have good form, speed will come. You don't have to try to, go at your maximum. That's just not how you enjoy running. If you're doing that and you enjoy it, well. But anyway, I like running and I do it because I know how to do it. You're supposed to be fluid, okay? All right, now, from that point, now we're going to go to the next logical step, which is instead of doing this number where I'm doing a shot from, I guess backwards this way, now I'm going to do a shot that is this way. I'm going to use my other arm. Basically, whatever leg you have back, now you're going to load from that side. And you're going to find that, some people like to go backwards like this with their good hand. Some people like to come forward like this. It's still the exact same mechanics, the exact same. And the only difference is I'm not going to start from down here. When you're throwing on this side, your arm is going to be higher, and you're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to push. I'm going to start, and that should happen. And again, please don't get any funny ideas about trying to do some funky thing over here. I'm going to get around that sword. That's later. We'll do that later. Right now, all you're trying to do is get a smooth motion, okay? Start from here, move. Think of a little plane. You're trying to slice, I guess you could say you're slicing a pie. You could say that you're chopping water, whatever. Start here, go across. And please, if you have to, slow it down. This moves first. You're loading, move, and that should follow. That's it. You're trying to get all this power to basically whip into your arm. That's all it is. If you can actually feel your hand getting pulled forward, that's optimal. That means you're getting power to move up. And again, it's rotational movement turning into a linear shot. It's kinetic linking. That's what it is. Kinetic linking. If you really love vocabulary, that's what you. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what it's called.
So one quick thing, guys, if you don't mind demonstrating that again, Carlos.
Sure.
Look at the hip. Okay, the hip is engaged. His legs are like the engine to a car, right? His hips are like the gear shift. They transfer and add to that momentum, right? So one thing that I'm seeing kind of consistently is your hips back a little bit. Remember, let's not neglect what we learned earlier. Engage those hips the whole time, right? The concept of full body unity. We don't want to leave anything behind us. We want it all to come, wham, forward, right? Bring your whole body.
That's true. I've come around to a couple of people and I've seen, I've tried to correct, where hips are. I've noticed a couple of things that people are doing that are kind of, not wrong, but I would say wonky. I've noticed a lot of people really want to load, not here, but they want to come down, like they're trying to get even more power from coming down here. At this point of the game, that's really not going to help you. It really is. I mean, I know that that spring can give you more power, but right now
it's very situational.
Yeah.
Really, if I'm fighting Carlos, the bigger the motion I make, the more of a chance I have of Carlos jumping in my, and beating me up for it, right? So if we're fighting here, and the situation is he's got a single sword, I got a single sword, we just tapped sword, we just started fighting, I'm not gonna go like that because you see the look in his eye right there when he saw that? Yeah. Yes! Excellent! Now, sometimes you will have to compromise your good body mechanics, right? Sometimes fighting is chaos. Fighting is chaos, and you want to try to control that chaos as much as you can, but you also have to kind of embrace it, right? But that doesn't mean stay there. If we're rubbing shields and stuff like that, he pushes real hard on my shield side, and I have to go down here. Okay, I have to go down here, but the principles still remain the same. As I come up, I do that kinetic linking. I reach from the ground, I bring the ground with me, right? Through my back foot, through this pivoting. I utilize my hips, right? I'm not just going, "Hi-ya!" right? I'm gonna, right? You guys hear the difference, right? Boom, right? So there will be times when you have to compromise, but those are conditional. And the game is so fast now, guys. This is a game of milliseconds and half inches, right? So, right here, nice.
Yep, so
Full body unit.
So at this point, instead of coming back here and going forward, get your hand, come up. So now you should have better posture, hopefully, because you're not trying to do this number, which I saw a couple of you leaning over. Now you should have a good excuse to stay up. Make sure you have a guard, and you're going to do the same thing. Come forward and deliver. Lag load and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And don't do this. It should be coming out. Okay. One thing of note, since we're actually now really extending that arm out there, don't let this, well, I'm not going to do it. All right, don't let this happen where you are letting your bones bang against each other. That's a bad thing. It really is. I mean, you want to extend your arm out there, but that's another place where injuries happen a lot.
In fact, this is from throwing too many sky hooks, too many wrap shots without proper body mechanics, trying to muscle it. And it was actually the creator of this class called this at I think it was a spring war or a band war, saw me go up to somebody and I loaded up and all my shoulder, all my elbow, hit. I killed my guy, but oh my God, too much. Not enough of the body, right? Putting not enough emphasis on proper body mechanics, and that's what happens, right? Since rehabbed it, it doesn't hurt anymore, but this is going to be with me forever because of this, right? So, longevity, guys. This isn't just about fighting well, it's about taking care of your body, right?
All right, so right now, find another partner. Give it a go. So the next thing, of course, that was just, cross, side, and the next one is, of course, my favorite, which is slot. I love slot. Slot is awesome. Now, the slot is exactly the same thing, starting right here, moving forward, letting this thing drop. Now, this actually got showed to me by another sword knight, or actually he didn't show it to me, he put it online, but I saw it. He's now going to say he showed me. Is basically one way to show this little transference. And again, I need somebody I can hit. All right, come here. Come here, kid. All right, so anyway, if I'm trying to hit this guy right here, the temptation, of course, is to want to do this. Hit, hit, hit. And it's a really weak hit, and it counts as a hit in Amguard, but again, you want to have more stuff going over here. But if you can do this, then you can get this involved. And if you can get that involved, and if you can get that involved, and it gets louder every single time. And I'm not really trying to hit him harder. I just got more muscles involved. It's almost impossible not to put more power into that. So that's a little progression you can do with the slot. That's a little harder to do with the other shots, but this one is much easier to do because you're coming straight down. And again, you're not trying to do this. From a starting position, drag and go. From a starting position, drag and go. Now, on that one especially, it's very hard not to bang this. So I'm just going to tell you very, very quickly, make sure you're not. Make sure you're not. And if you need practice with that, then take it. The Pell, I think Pells are absolutely awesome. I mean, they just are, especially if you're doing just those basic shots. Because again, you don't need anybody to do it. You can do it at home. You can do it by yourself. One thing that I was talking to somebody else right here when I saw them kind of struggling with their off arm. Your brain works in such a way that your left hemisphere controls the right part of your body, your right hemisphere controls the left part of your body. And there's actually an actual connection inside your brain where those nerves crisscross each other. And some of you might have noticed, oh man, I can write really well with my right hand. My left hand just absolutely looks like baby scribbles. And that's like, well, that's everybody. Now, here's a nice little experiment. Anything that your right hand is doing, your left hand can almost always mimic it in reverse. And if you don't believe it, take your right finger up here and just write your name in cursive. Now, take your right finger, take your left finger, you're going to write your name correctly with your right hand, write it in reverse with your left.
What?
I had to like remember how to write in cursive. It was like, does the O start this direction or?
And the reason why I show that is because if you're going to practice these shots and you're saying, God, my left hand just absolutely bites, then I would definitely do it like this. Get your pedal, come over here and hit, throw the same shot. Throw it one time, come over here, second time. If you do it that way, that passageway is going to already be established, and it's a little bit of a speed start to get your left hand to be able to do what your right hand can do.
So, like, I've been telling with like a set of rights and a set of lefts, are you saying like interleaving them like that? 1, 1, 1, 1?
You can, but I'm going to tell you the same thing, and for you, I've been seeing you do these little drills here. I'm going to tell you right now, there's one misconception about Pell work, and there's one misconception about practicing. A lot of people will tell you, oh man, you got to use Pell because it's practice, and practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So if you have a Pell at home, and you are just doing it the wrong way, oh man, I'm going to be so good when I get back out there. The only thing you're teaching yourself is how to do it the wrong way. And when you get out there, that's actually bad because that's actually going to stop you from being able to do it the right way later. Nothing stops you from learning something good and correct and new quite as much as something that is old and bad. Those are the worst things you can do. There's an old saying that says nothing stops the credibility of a new truth quite so much as an old lie. And that works a lot pretty much with this. I mean, if you learn how to do it wrong, then you're going to have to unlearn yourself before you can even start to do it right. So if you have a sword knight or somebody on your field that can help you do those shots, and then you go home and then you practice them, that's the best way you can do it. Don't just go home and think, yeah, I got this down. That's definitely how I would go. Now, I'm very sad that we have so little class time left because the next part is definitely the most difficult thing that you're going to learn. And it's the one that even if you have a really experienced, really good teacher, somebody who's just like, oh, look, man, I'm just totally badass, I can do this all day. Students will try it. They will try the mechanics behind it, and you will go away sometimes just scratching your head like, oh, man, I still can't do it right. And that is, of course, wraps. Wraps are very difficult to do. And now, if you don't know the idea behind a wrap, here's how a wrap is supposed to work. Let's say that I'm trying to fight this man right here, and let's say that I'm trying to hit that arm right there. Well, let's say that I've got right here, and I'm trying to hit him. It's very easy for him to block this shot. Extremely easy. Because all he has to do is just basically move his hand a little bit or just even move his wrist. And I'm expending an awful lot of energy, and he has to do very little to stop it. Now, the whole idea behind a wrap is that, yes, you're trying to make this thing come around. You're getting around his block, and making your sword attack at a different angle. So if I was going to try to wrap, I'll show you how to do it, but I'm going to do it right now, but I'm not going to give you the mechanics behind it. So if I'm trying to hit that elbow now, I'm not going to go flat, I'm going to wrap, like that. And what I just did was I came all the way around over here. Now the reason why a wrap is really good is because it goes behind his passive block. But even better, if he wants to block, now his arm is going to have to suddenly get way the hell out there. He's going to have to dedicate a heck of a lot more energy, and he's going to create more openings inside here. So that's one of the reasons why a wrap is so incredibly good. And that's why it's the basis for a lot of shots. A lot of people basically base their whole fighting game off of doing wraps. Now, just like that looks pretty and it's all nice, there are so many ways to do it wrong. So, here's how you do it wrong. Does somebody else want to come on up here? Oh boy. All right, go ahead and get your sword out like this. Hold it straight up. Now hold it like this. Okay. Now, try and move it over. Go ahead. Come on. Now, he can't generate a lot of power this way. He just can't. Same thing over here. Try picking it up. How's that working for you? Not very good. Now, this is a, you need something round, that's why. Now, try to turn your wrist. Yeah, and I can try to hold it, but he has a lot more power now. The idea behind this is, what you don't want to do is when you're doing a wrap, so many people don't get the whole fluidity of the motion of it. They don't. They think they're supposed to come over here and basically do this number. Or come over here and then make the wrist do all the work. When you're doing that, you're basically doing exactly what he was doing at the beginning, trying to force this over, trying to force that over. And not only is that not very strong, not only is it not fast, but you're also inviting all kinds of injuries to your forearm. Because one of those will give you tennis elbow, and the other one is going to give you golfer's grip. So, yeah, you can pick your poison if you really want to. This way or this way, you're causing all kinds of bad things. There's only one really fairly good way to get it done. And you'll hear people say, oh, well, I do it like this. Now, again, here's the basic mechanics behind it. And the trick is not seeing how to do it. The trick is being able to do it yourself. Now, let's go ahead and put your sword over here. Let's say that you're right-handed or right-handed. Now, he's got a guard, and I'm right here. Now, I cannot hit that forearm, but I can hit his hand. So here I am, hit, hit, hit. Now, the idea behind a wrap is that you're not following through. You're not. What you did before is I told you hit and then keep going. Keep the shot going unless you're blocked or unless you finish with all your energy, okay? When you're doing a wrap, you're stopping short. You're basically stopping, and now your sword is acting like a whip. Just like this was supposed to get your arm moving, when you stop, the energy has transferred from your leg up here, 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 and the energy is now at the tip of your sword. And you want that energy at the tip of your sword to be able to follow through even though you have stopped. So, the basic premise behind that is, here I can barely hit him. Now look what's going to happen when I try to wrap. What just happened?
You hit yourself.
That's exactly right. Anybody want to guess why? It was a great wrap. Why did I hit myself?
You followed through.
Huh? No, not because I followed through.
You didn't stop.
No, I did stop.
You were just not close enough.
That's right. There is one bad thing about wraps. That's right. Your range is pretty much for shit. When you are doing a wrap, this thing should be whipping around, but because you're stopping, you don't have a linear striking surface anymore. Now, you're stopping and you have a triangle. You have a triangle. And if you know anything about triangles versus lines, shortest distance between 2 points, straight line. If you're going to do a triangle, that means you're breaking off some of that distance and now it's coming towards me. So if you expect to be able to do the same things with a wrap that you can do with a straight shot, you're going to have to get a little bit closer. Just expect that. That's just going to be the way it's going to have to be. Now, the trick is come here, get this out, and I'm stopping. And I'm stopping. And I'm stopping. So many ways to show how to do this. I'm going to say at first, you know, do you have a best method for this?
So, honestly, guys, with the wrap, the big thing
I got the OK grip, and I'll show you that.
that you're going to see here that I just want to emphasize that Carlos is talking about. So many people. How do I wrap? How do I spit bars? No. Right?
Well, that's me.
But so many people neglect good body mechanics because they think of the wrap shot as this other thing, right? This like, it's the key. It's the magic pill that's going to make all that other stuff invalid, right? But when you throw that wrap shot, I'm not even throwing it with just here. I'm still loading up. And that, I mean, I don't know about you, but that is the one thing that people seem to have the hardest time with. They see the funkiness of what happens with your elbow, what happens with your arm, and they perseverate on this, but they don't look at this, right? The way I like to throw a wrap shot is the same way I like to throw my flat, right? Of course, it changes at the end, but my legs, my hips, my posture, my body mechanics, right? All the same, right? Same thing. Same thing, right? If I'm just throwing with the wrist, as you see, that's what will happen.
Now, real quickly, I know we're running out of time, it's so terrible. So, let's try this, shall we? I've got, the way that I was going to show you how to do a Kempo shot, to do the wrap shot, is to start with Kempo. How many of y'all know what a horse stance is? There we go, get down this way. There you go. Always toes pointing more or less straight, right here like you're sitting down on a little horse. Now, pretend you're in a Kung Fu movie. totally awesome Kung Fu star. And you've got your block down here. Oh, here we go, yeah. Now, we're gonna do 50 of these, and we're not gonna go fast. Basically, you're gonna go from here to there. You're gonna turn your wrist. Turn your wrist. 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll speed up a little bit. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and again, don't bang. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43, 45, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. That movement right there, going across the wrist, is basically what a wrap shot is. That's all it is. All it is, you're starting from one point and going around and around, and you're letting the sword lead you. This is called the OK grip right here. OK grip right here. The idea behind this is it's supposed to show you mechanically what your wrap is supposed to do. If you're holding it like this, you're not even grabbing it like this. Go as freaking slow as you can. I can't even say this enough because, again, easy to show, very hard to do. I'm starting right here. If I do this right, I'm stopping here and I'm just letting the sword move on its own. I'm not even using my hand on it at all. I'm starting here, coming across, and just let it go. That's it. Let it go. Stop and let it go. I've seen people grab shirts and hold your arm in place so that it keeps going. I've seen people take their own hand, put it right here, and stop it so that this thing keeps going. Whatever it takes to basically stop and let the sword continue. And again, the biggest problem that I see kids, I see kids doing,
Hey,
children,
I don't mind being
Yes.
called kid. I'm almost 40. It's all good.
is doing this number. They make the wrist turn around.
Good analogy is throwing a ball, throwing a baseball too, right? Boom, leaves your hand, right? And you just like this, just like pitching, right? Bam, same thing.
Now, if you want a really quick tip, this works a little bit. You can try this. Go ahead and get your sword up. Now, put your sword out like you're trying to hit somebody, so out it goes just like that. So you have it just like you're doing that little wrap, right? I mean, just like you're doing the flat shot, right there. Now, keep it loose. Now jerk your shoulder back. Watch what happens to your sword. Put it out there and stop, jerk it back. When you do that, your hand will automatically wrap over. It will automatically go back because that's basically what your arm wants to do. It doesn't want to bend that way. It's not going to follow you back. It wants to turn. And that's probably the easiest way to show you how to do it, but I don't want everybody to throw your wraps like that. That's one way you can do it, but that's the easiest way to show you what that motion looks like. Everybody can do that. Everybody can do that. So now you know that's supposed to happen. Again, you're not coming over here, I did it, I did it. That's totally wrong, okay? So now, with the very little time that we have left, we're gonna have to try to do this. And again, this is probably gonna require him and I to go and help a lot of people one-on-one, because this is the one thing that people have a hard time with. Now, if you already know how to wrap, well, that's great. Then you should definitely be helping somebody else to make sure that their form is correct. But right now, get yourself your partner, start with this sword. You're gonna come out here, do the same thing, except stop. If you want to do this little OK grip, you can. If you want to hold on to it like this, fine. But pull it out, stop, and let that sword just keep on going. And don't throw that big shoe shot. Go, let it go. If you have to, as slow as you can. That's as much as I want to do. And stop. And stop. That's it. Get it going. Get it going. Get it going. Single sword block.
And somebody who's
The
like, oh, that's a real nice suit of plate armor
who
you
took
have
this
there.
class
King
for
Arnold
years and
helmet,
years and
called
years ahead of me, all of us. Really good guy. He shared with me a lot of his notes. A lot of the material that's coming from here comes from him. One of the methods that he used to try to teach wraps was he used to take these very, very heavy pieces
That's the head.
about 4 or 5
That's the
pounds or
outside.
such, you know, wrenches, rods, stuff like that. He would have you go into the woods, pick a tree, and he would say, okay, I want you to wrap that tree. And you would basically stand there and whack and whack. Now the theory behind that is not, oh, more heavy, it's going to obviously work better. No, that wasn't it at all. The idea behind that is it is so heavy that if you do something wrong, you're going to feel it, and it's going to feel bad. So if you hit something and you're like glancing off, you're gonna be like, ow, oh, I almost hit myself. And the theory behind that is once you throw it correctly, you'll hear the loud thump, your elbow would hurt, and now you know that that's the correct form. And so that, for a lot of people, that was an aha moment. Some people never got that, but it was actually a very good way to do it. Because basically, two things that you're going to worry about is power and speed. If you're using a lot of power and you're doing something wrong, something is going to hurt. If you're using too much speed and you're doing it wrong, things are going to go wonky. And a really, really good analogy for that is, imagine that you're running as fast as you can. Well, if you're running as fast as you can, then you can't run too fast. But if you're running as fast as you can and you're going downhill, and suddenly your body is moving faster than you can control, your leg is going to start doing all kinds of wonky things, and you're going to feel it. And you're going to feel your legs going off center, even though you're not trying to do that. So you're doing something wrong, and your legs are letting you know that. So again, one of the reasons why we do this is we're trying to avoid that situation. We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want the wonkiness. We don't want the wild, out-of-control type stuff. And I know that it seems like we're taking baby steps to get there, but that's exactly what you should be doing, taking baby steps to get there.